Welcome to the channel, viewers. Reverend Dr. J.W. Morrison, theologist, Central Coast, New South Wales, Australia, out of the gym. Raining today. I'll just give you a look. Raining today, no good. But the wind's coming up from the south, so we might get some water time later in the day if it clears up a bit. Covert emotional incest plays a major part in the failure of relationships because there's no individuation separation taking place between the child and the mother. Now, it could have been partial, could have been a partial severing of the maternal umbilical cord, spiritual umbilical cord, but it reconnects. A lot of this has got to do not only with parents breaking up and the gravitation towards children for therapy and healing and stuff that comes through that. It's also got to do with the fact that a lot of children are staying with their mothers now because of the cost of living. Particularly, I know that's what's happening here in Australia. The cost of living's causing people to stay in tribes. They're staying in their families. It's just easier. It's very expensive to live around here, I know that. Particularly for young kids today, rents can be as much as $1,000 a week. People can't afford that. They don't make that. So they either live with their parents or they live with friends. But coming back to emotional incest, it's usually a matter of convenience. A lot of these people will have therapists, but they won't get into it usually with the therapist, because, particularly emotional incest, because a lot of therapists don't know what it is. Just like a lot of therapists don't know what narcissism is. They don't know. So you can't fix something you don't know. I know that in the churches there's a lot of bad counsel because they try and force people to stay together when it's obvious that it's not a good idea for them to do that. And it's not about encouraging people to be apart either. It's never about that. But when a thing's run its course, then that's it. It's run its course, and we have to culturalize ourselves to understand that. We force people into believing that, you have to stay together forever. But if things aren't working right, no, that's not true. Just had a good mate that was Christ himself, just about, and him and his wife have parted ways. He met another woman that was more intimate and more understanding, so he went. The church turned their back on him. The children turned their back on him. This is what happens. These are the things that happen when you make decisions like that. You've got to accept the consequences. And with covert emotional incest, when you become aware of it through the big gaps, through the big time phases that have nothing to do with the person's job or anything, it's a matter of them trying to wife and support and put time into the little husband or husbands at home to keep them happy, because they've started something they can't finish. Emotional incest is always something you can't finish, unfortunately. And you'll see these people turning up. They don't really contribute at your place. They're just turning up for the goodies. Fair enough, that's what part of the relationship's about. But you can't build anything. There's nothing you can do to build anything because the person's not there long enough or interested enough. My last partner was good. She got out and helped in the garden every now and then, and we cooked together, and we always sat together and tried to talk. But at the end, it got so thick, the unresolved, nobody was going to win out of that. It was a no-win situation for the two of us, because it wasn't just the two of us. There was a triangulated environment, and people won't tolerate that. I mean, honestly, if my children were trying to triangulate and strangulate and vandalize psychologically my partner, I wouldn't expect them to say. I'd fear that they were going to leave. It wouldn't happen for a start. But being on the end of it now, I can see how evil and cunning and infantile it is, because it was all to get mummy back. The other one before that, it was all to have mummy. I need my mummy. And these are adult people fretting like little children and whinging and whining and carrying on like little brats over their mum. It was... See, in my day, we were riding motorbikes and surfing and had our own places, and the last thing we wanted to do was be around mummy. But today, these young guys today, man, it is like, even the lady I'm with now, I know her son's working on her house and stuff, but still, she's, yeah. Each to their own, but the individuation separation just doesn't seem to be the same, and this causes dependencies that are past the maternal realm, and it weakens these young blokes, and they think that their girlfriend's going to be their mummy, and she's not. And of course you can't have sex with your mummy, so in the back of their minds the relationship becomes frigid, because they want their girlfriend to be their mother. And then the covert emotional incestual person wants to be the mother, even though they're a bloke. And they try and carry out the separation from the mother by ruining the relationship. That's how they individuate. But it's a phantom attempt, because they return to the real mother. So it's all fantasy orientated. That's why you should not involve yourself in an argument with any of these people. Just let them make up their stories and their fantasies to try and manipulate and control the person that you're with and vandalize you, and just watch and perform well. You know, with all the chaos that can come from covert emotional incest, the only way you can perform well as a partner in it, and that's why you're disintegrating psychologically, is to know that it's there. And this will bamboozle the person that you're with, because they know there's wrong going on. They know that they're splitting themselves and trying to manage dysfunctional people that are interfering, and they don't want to lose you. But it's an impossibility. It's not part of God's plan. The Lord himself in the start of the Bible said, leave your mother and father and cling to your wife. Now it's for people, it's the opposite way around. Leave your children and cling to your partner. Everything's triangulated, and they're interferers. The parents are frightened of their children. The children become the parents, and the parents become the children, and you know, most women will play the daughter daddy thing in the relationship if you want them to, and then they sort of continue that on in their own home with their with their young men. And of course, the children become the husband, the surrogate husband. Nobody's fixing anything or solving anything. Everyone's just going down the tubes gloriously in the covert emotional incest. Look at it all, our enmeshment and our addictions, and here you can have a smoke, or here have some of my beer or dope, or here's some recreational drug. Here, share this with you. You know, they even pass it. It's generational. They pass it on to the partners of their children. They allow it all. I seen this as a young 11, 12, 13-year-old when I used to polish the Harleys for the bikers. Watched it all 100%. The sex addictions, and they race home to their drugs, and most of them are dead now. Most of those people are dead. They just abused themselves and abused themselves and abused themselves until they dead. I saw a death spirit on my last girlfriend. I saw the death spirit on her. I come out one day and she was smoking, and I saw this spirit over her life, and I thought, this woman is determined to die. She wants to die with the chemicals. And I thought, that's not reflective of what the possibilities are for us. And I'd seen how they die. I saw my stepfather die from it, my mother die from it. Several of my first wife's relatives died from smoking. No. They think they're invincible and they're not going to die, and the next minute they're up the hospital, and they don't care about getting better. They just want to get back to their chemicals. And that's where covert emotional incest leaves everyone, just disabled and addicted.